Hi there, this is Professor Eckhouse, and I'm going to talk today about the relationship between decimals and fractions. We're going to look at converting, comparing, simplifying, and using decimals and fractions both with circles. And you will definitely need your calculator. All right, so we're going to look first at converting a fraction to a decimal. And the first thing you need to remember before we begin here is that a fraction bar just signifies division, right? So 6/7 is the same thing as 6 divided by 7. So that's really key for you to understand what we're doing here. So all of this just means we're dividing. So very first thing you need to know is to convert a fraction to a decimal, you literally just put it in your calculator. Don't do a long division. Please use a calculator. Long division takes way too long. That's what we have our tools for, so we can move on and do harder things. Try these first three on your calculator. So just pause the video and give it a try. All right, so for 3/5, you should get 0.6. For 3/4, you should get 0.75, and these are all exact numbers. And then for -9/4, it's going to be negative, and you don't have to put the negative in your calculator. You can just remember it's negative. You can if you want to, but you're going to get 2.25. 2.25. All right. And just think about that with fractions, going back to our fractions work. If you turn this into a mixed number, this would be 2 1/4, right? Which is 2 1/4. So be flexible, be able to think about it in lots of different ways at this point. Okay, so repeating decimals. So these are things, you're going to get these on your calculator. These are decimals that go on forever. So these are considered rational numbers because they repeat. If it didn't repeat in any way, shape, or form, it would be irrational. But these are rational. So if you look at the first one, 1.33333, that is going to, we're going to say that the 3 is the repeating digit, and we're going to do that with this little line over the 3, saying the 3 is repeating. All right, the next one I want to talk about a little bit, 4.1666. On your calculator, the last digit is going to be a 7. So it's going to look like it doesn't repeat. But that is because it is going to round the very last digit. And of course, the next one after it was a 6, so it has to round it up to a 7. But this is repeating. It really does go on forever and ever and ever. Okay, so I'm going to erase that so it's not confusing when you look back later. All right, so in this case, it's the 6 that is repeating, just the 6, so we put the line over the 6. The next one, we've got 161616, so we put a line over the 16. And the next one, we've got 271271, and that one, again, depending on how many place values you have on your calculator, the last digit could round to something other than one of these numbers, so you just really have to kind of think about it. All right, so now try writing each of these fractions as a decimal, now that you know what you know. Okay, so 2/3, you're going to get 0.66666, depending on how many spots you have on your calculator. The last one is going to be a 7. Well, why is it a 7? Well, if we were going to round to this place value right here, right? If we're, I should use an arrow. If we're going to round to this place value right here, we would look at this one, and that would round it up to a 7. So that's basically what they did. So it really is 6 repeating forever. So instead, I'm going to do that. I need some lines, don't I? I'm having a hard time writing straight. So this would be 0.6 with the line over it like that. Now, we could get to a place where it says round to 2 decimal places or round to 5 decimal places. We're not doing that right now. All right, the next one you would get is 0.4090909, and that just is going to continue on like that forever. Well, what is it that's continuing? It's the 0.9. So this number is 0.4 with a 0.9, and the line is over the 0.9, the repeating portion. All right, if you haven't tried the next one yet, give it a try. All right, this one is 1.27272727, and mine had a 3 on my calculator. And that was because the next number was actually a 2 with a 7 there, right? But we were rounding to here, and that 7 rounded it up to a 3. All right? So that's what's going on there. I'm going to erase all that black. So, all right, so that is what we're going to see repeating, is the 2 7s like that. So we're going to write this as 1.27 with a line over the 2 7. And so that's how you're going to write repeating decimals until it comes time to round them. All right, so adding a fraction and a decimal, you're going to use your calculator on these. So don't try to do these in your head. They're just too long. We don't have time for that. So we're going to simplify. In other words, write this as a decimal all put together. So all you're going to do is take your calculator. You're going to use the ND button to put that in. So it will literally look just like that. Just put 4/5 plus 7.3. Give it a try. Pause the video and see what you get. All right, so you should get 8.1. If you have a different calculator than the TI 30XS, you're going to have to look for the N over D button. It's most likely there somewhere. Even the TI 84s have it hidden in one of the buttons. All right, the next one, give it a try if you haven't already. But you should get 5.5. Okay, again, just put it in your calculator. All right, ordering fractions and decimals. I just realized I didn't do this one ahead of time, so I'm going to do it with you. All right, so we've got, choose the symbol that describes the relationship between the two numbers. Is 7/10 greater than 0.85 or is it less than? So we've got to decide which one it is. Well, 7/10, and that's 0.85. 7/10 is 0.7. You can use your calculator to figure that out, but after our talk about place value, you should know how to do that now. So we've got 0.7 and 0.85. 0.7 is like 0.700 or 0.70, however you want to do it. And you can compare that to 0.85 now if that's easier for you. And you can see that 0.7 is smaller than 0.85, so it would have that less than. All right, so write the numbers in order from smallest to largest. How would you do this? All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to find that 11/20 is 0.55, and then the next number is 0.51, of course. I'm just writing them all down. And then 7/17, I'm going to put that in my calculator and find it to be 0.4118, and it continues on. It doesn't repeat, but it continues on. And it's going to be basically 0.41. So now we can compare this one, and this one, see which one is smallest. So I'm going to make number 1 my smallest. That will be that one. Number 2, and then number 3. So when you go to write it, you would say from smallest to biggest would go there, 0.51, and then 11/20. All right, use order of operation to simplify expressions with decimals. Use your calculator. Use it properly. Use the parentheses buttons and use them as much as you need to. Put the entire expression in and then hit enter. Don't do it piece by piece. Your calculator is made, unless you have one that is not required, that's a simpler calculator and doesn't have parentheses on it anywhere. Your calculator should have parentheses, and then you don't have to do things in steps and you'll make way less mistakes. But let's estimate this first. So we've got 7 times 18 minus 3 minus 21.7. So this portion right here, let's just say 18 minus 23-ish, right? A little more. So that's going to be maybe around -3. So now when we go to multiply that times 7, we're going to get around maybe -21. I don't know, something like that. Might be a little bit more than 3. All right, so let's see what we get. So you're going to put this in your calculator and see what you get. All right, hopefully you found that you got -23.8. So pretty close to -21. We're in the ballpark, and that's all we're going for is ballpark with these, so that you don't end up doing something really strange and getting a number that's way off and then not even noticing. All right, so the next one, that was number 1. This is number 2. 2/3 of 8.3 minus 3.8. Okay, so we're going to get 8.3 minus 3.8 is like 8 and some minus almost 4. So this is going to maybe be about 4. So you're going to think of what is 2/3 of 4? Well, half is 2. 3/4 is 3. So somewhere between 3 and 4. ish, maybe. We'll see. All right, so put this in your calculator and see what you get. All right, when you put it in, you should get, I got exactly 3. All right, so simplify these. Boy, that's a mess, but we're just going to put it in our calculator. So go ahead and try putting that in your calculator and see what you get. So for the first one, I put this all in my calculator, and I got 10.79. If you cannot get that on your calculator, try again. Just put the whole thing in. Don't stop part way. Write anything down. I mean, you can if you want to, and I did practice with that myself just to see 0.2 times 4. What you want to do is go through the multiplication first, right, and the division. So 6 divided by 0.6 is 10. 0.2 times 4 is 0.8, 0.8, and 0.1 squared is 0.01. So I get 10.8 minus 0.01, and I get 10.79 again. Okay? All right, the next one I did not do, I just realized. So I'm putting in parenthesis, n over d, 1, and then I move down to the bottom, 10, move to the right, parenthesis, squared. Plus, you can even hear my calculator going, 3.5. You don't need those parentheses because it's just 3.5 times 0.9. And you don't have to put 0, just put 0.9. And I get 3.16. And if you're going to do this one thing at a time, you would do this, and then you would add them together. All right, let's try the next topic. So using decimals and fractions with circles. So just a little reminder of what the terminology is. Here's our circle. The distance around the outside, that would be like if you're walking around the outside. That would be the circumference, okay? That's the circumference. The diameter is the distance all the way across from the center. So there's a center right here. And the radius is going to be from the center to the edge. So in other words, the diameter is twice as big because the radius is only that much, right? Only that much. I'll put it right above it. It's like right there. Okay, so keep all that in mind. R is radius, D is diameter, and C is circumference, and A is area. So here's another summary of all of that. R is the length of the radius, D is the length of the diameter. Then here are our two formulas. The circumference is 2 pi r, and the area is pi r squared. All right, so example 7. A circle has a radius of 12 centimeters. Approximate its circumference and area. Now, when we say approximate, what that means is that they want you to use, approximate means use 3.14 instead of the pi button. Okay, so just use 3.14. I don't know why they do that, but I guess not everybody has a pi button available to them. So, all right, so where are we talking about here? The radius means we're going from here to the side, any place, right? Here or here or here. All of those have the same distance from the center because it's a circle. So that is 12 centimeters right there. All right, so we're going to find the circumference first, and that is going to be 2 pi r. All right, so the r, this is r right here, 2 pi, and for r, we're going to put in times 12 right there. Okay, so that means that this becomes 2 times 12 is 24. You can multiply in any order you want, 24 pi. This is the exact answer. So if you ever ask for the exact answer, leave it like that. And in science, in calculus, we actually always leave it like this, always. We like the exact answers in math. All right, so then if we want to get the approximate answer, we're going to put 3.14 in. So just put 24 times 3.14, and you're going to get 75.36. Now, what is circumference? It's distance around, right? It's like you're walking, and that's measured in just centimeters. All right, so now let's look at area. Area is 2 pi r squared. I'm sorry, not a 2. Sorry. Pi r squared. All right, so we get pi times 12 squared. So that is 144 pi. All right, so again, that is the exact answer. But they want us to put in 3.14 and get an approximate number. 144 times 3.14. And we don't square the pi. Just to be really clear, we do not square the pi. We square only the radius. All right, so you're going to put that in your calculator, and you're going to get 452.16. And what is the unit on that? It's area, and it was measured in centimeters. So it's going to be centimeters squared. All right, so example 8. Try this without me, now that I've shown you how to do it. All right, so here's our center. That means our radius is 31.5 centimeters. All right, so let's find the circumference. So circumference is C equals 2 pi times r. So that means we have 2 pi times 31.5 centimeters. So that is going to be exact, would be 63 pi, right? That's our exact answer. But they want us to approximate. So let's get rid of some of this. So we'll multiply that times 3.14. So we get 63 times 3.14. And that is going to give us 197.82, and the unit was centimeters. All right, next we're going to find area. Area is pi r squared. So we get pi times 31.5 squared. And I did this leaving the pi out for a moment so we can look at it. 992.25 pi. That's how we report that. And again, that is the exact answer. We leave pi in for the exact answer because it represents every digit, and there's infinite digits in pi. So, all right, so to approximate, we'd take 992 times 3.14, and we get 3,115.665 centimeters squared. Okay, so those are our two answers. All right, so that's doing it with a decimal, but we can also use a fraction for pi. So as it turns out, we can approximate pi pretty closely with 22 over 7. It's still an approximation, but it's useful when we have a radius that's a fraction. Okay, so we're going to look at that now. So this next radius here is r equals 14/15 meters. All right, so if we're given a fraction, it's easier to get a number that's a little bit more precise when we have a fractional pi. All right, so remember pi is 22 over 7. Okay, 22 over 7. All right, so circumference equals 2 pi times r. So we're going to have 2 times 22 over 7 times 14 over 15. And this is going to be in meters. So you're just going to put this into your calculator, just like that, with the N over D button, with the parentheses if you want them. You don't really need the parentheses. You can just say times. And you get 88 over 5 meters. And we're just going to leave it like that. I just want you to see how to do this. All right, and the area is then going to be pi r squared. So pi is going to be approximated with 22 over 7, and r is 14 over 15, and it's squared. So once again, you literally just put this in the calculator. You just use the N over D button. Use parentheses around this one here because you're going to square the whole thing. So you don't have to use parentheses if you use the N over D button, but you should get 616/25. If this was supposed to be as a mixed number, which would probably make more sense, you could just use the conversion button on your calculator. So convert it between the mixed number to the N over D. So it's in N over D, and it's a toggle switch, and it just switches back and forth. All right. Oh, and that one is a meter squared. Don't forget to do that. because it's area. All right, you try this one. All right, so the radius is 7/12 of an inch, a little over half. The circumference then is going to be 2 pi r, which is 2 times, remember pi is going to be approximated when we have fractions as 22/7. So we get 22/7 times, now we have to put in our 7/12. Ooh, that's nice. The 7s actually are going to cancel out. And you could reduce this whole thing without using your calculator at all, but you end up getting 11/3. 11/3. And what is the unit? It is inches. All right, the area is going to be pi r squared. All right, so we get pi is 22/7. R is 7/12, and that is squared. So you can just use your calculator, or you can put 7/12 twice and see what cancels, but you're going to end up getting 77/72. And what is the unit? So the unit is inches squared, because it's area. All right, so the area is 77/72 inches squared. So a little over an inch squared. It's a small a circle. That must be tired. All right, so don't forget to square that. So put parentheses around that fraction, or put it in twice. You can just say 7/12 times 7/12 if you really want to. All right, that is the end. Thank you for watching.